Okay, River. Probably, as of now, my second favorite tournament I ever went to. The first one was Worlds 2016. And the reason why I liked a lot Worlds 2016 is because there were so many of us who actually met up in, where was that last year? San Francisco, yeah. Hated the place, I loved the hotel, I loved the guys. Anyway, River. First things first, I was so scared the first day. Not even when I was in London, just when I was back at home. The reason why was because I was already getting ready to go to Riva. Everything was already packed in. What happens? We found out that our car insurance has expired. No, not the insurance, the maintenance has expired. How did we find out? Well, cops stopped us, and we actually had to pay on the place. I was so worried, but luckily we actually asked them if they could give us a stamp so that we could use the car that day. So lucky there. We stopped by the restaurant to leave my sister there, and we decided to wash the car since it was still kind of early in the morning and my flight was at midday, around midday. So we washed the car, and what happened? We went there, and all the vacuums at the car wash didn't work. So we actually had to ask someone if they could give us back the money. Okay. So we pack everything in the car, and what do we notice? The tire is completely down to the ground. Completely empty of air. So where do we go? We go and meet our friendly. How do we call this guy who actually fix your cars? Basically it was a family friend who also worked on cars. We went there. We asked him if he could fix our tire. He pumped air into it. It was like, you should get this checked out. And we were like, we have no time to do that. And he was also closing in. He was already ready to leave. So we got there by the last minute possible. Okay, we got to the airport, and during the whole travel we were like, I hope the tire doesn't burst. That was so terrifying for like 40 minutes straight. I get to the airport. I go through security check-ins. I go through the passport check-ins because now to go to London you actually need to have a passport. Yay, Brexit. Anyway, the flight is pretty okay. I call Saver. He's like, yo, Goreson, you have to go there to Liverpool Street. I'm gonna meet you there. And I'm like, okay, nice. I meet him in Liverpool Street after 15 minutes. We get to the house pretty safely. The one funny thing though that happens is that Saver and I leave the train station, but we leave it in the secondary exit, and he's like, wait a second, where's the house? Oh, we got out at the wrong station, and we spent like 30 minutes just going around through the same blocks of houses until he finds out where should we have been. I meet all the guys. We come back to the room, and the first thing I hear is Goreson. It was so funny, and I actually remember to give Kimo his headphones that I took from him at Tio. Really weird place. And what did I find? I find Kimo cooking, and I'm like, hey Kimo, you already cooking? He's like, yeah, I did this at EO, I'm gonna do this again. You wanna help out to continue the tradition? Sure, what are you cooking? And I see pasta, and I'm already bursting in laughter. And I'm like, okay, with what? I see chicken, I'm like, okay, chicken as a secondary dish. Oh no, we're gonna put the chicken into the pasta. No, you don't do that. Listen, you don't put chicken into the pasta. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So what sauce did you take? Oh, tomatoes. And I'm like, oh, it's tomato sauce. It's okay. We're gonna use that. Then I opened the jars and I look inside. It was not tomato sauce. It was dried tomatoes. And I'm like, oh no, Kimo, why are you doing this? We cooked it either way. It was terrible. But people seem to be like, yeah, this is food. We're gonna eat it, and that went fine. Okay. I saw everyone was playing in the main room, and I wanted to play some games too. I played a bit of Empoleon. I guess I still don't remember anymore. But I played a bit of Empoleon, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work tomorrow. I met all the guys. They told me which room was mine, and I was like, a single room for me. If anyone else wants to sleep here, it's okay by me. And everyone and Roxo was like, no, we don't want to sleep near you because you snore. And I wasn't even offended. I know I snore, and I was like, yeah, better for me. Also, I paid Roxo on the second day, right when we left, so that he would actually spend my money. I mean, the money I gave him instead of his own. I feel like that was a good choice. I don't really know, but I hope so. Anyway, we went to River. We had to wait more than an hour to get our bracelets and to go in. And everyone was like, wait a second, isn't the tournament already starting? We got there, no problem. The stream was completely shut down. They had a problem with the softwares. Angel was screaming around all the place. And we just went there playing like friendly sets. I didn't even play a single friendly set, and you know why? Because I didn't bring my Hori, and that was a horrible choice. But hey, I got supplied both days by some people. I think it was Ed who gave me his Hori for the first day, and the second day I got my Hori from Angel. So, hooray for me! First match, I get to fight either against Blue Link or Finster. Whew. I got Finster, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna play my champ in this matchup. I try him in Empoleon, I barely win game 1, I win game 2, and I'm like, okay, this is over. So who's the next opponent? And the next opponent is Meza. And I'm like, okay, I have enough experience against Sceptiles. I play against Jean a lot. Let's see. I win 2-0, and I'm like, this was not as hard as Jean. Because if I were to play against Jean in a tournament, I would have most likely lost. And I know that. I could tell that. Third opponent is Afro. And then the moment I saw Afro, it was like, yeah, man, let's just do this. I hope I'm gonna get into losers top 8. Poor man. No, I'm not saying he's not good. It's just like, I don't know. He just gets in my face too many times. As a Sceptile, you should not do that. Anyway, I win top 8. I'm like, day 1 is gone. So who's gonna be my opponent next time? And I found out it's Oreo. And I'm like, It was either Jean, Oreo, or Rubs. Oreo was the only one I had no infos on. I watched some of HBA, but you have to realize that when HBA is on Wednesday, it's like 4 a.m. for me, so it's not really the best timeline for me. But hey, next day we got there, and we went back to the apartment between the day 1 and day 2, and it was a lot more serious. We could tell that. Roxo was in loser top 8. Let's see who else was there. Okay, winners was me, Oreo, Jean, and Rabs. I know that. Losers was Roxo, Afrokami, who defeated Timo. And I was like, Timo, why do you always lose in tournaments? And he's like, yeah, man, I don't really have the matchup knowledge, you know. Also, yeah, Afrokami's Sceptile is a really good character, top tier. You know how it goes with those. Yeah, okay. Next up, Absoluted in losers, but he got top 8 without even owning a Switch. And I'm like, How did that even work? And then who was the last one? Roxo, Absol, Afrokami, and damn. If you're the 8th player and I'm not mentioning you, you're gonna want to kill me. But sadly, I don't have a good memory. That's something I always say to everyone. Damn it, maybe I'm gonna remember later on. Damn it, give me just like 5 or 10 more seconds to remember who else was there. Me, Oreo, Jean, Rubs, Absoluted, Roxo, Afrokami, and damn it, who was there? No, my mind is playing me tricks. Chemo! Okay, it was Chemo. Chemo who fought Roxo. Okay. Okay, next up. What happened after that? We went back home. I got picked to play against Roxo during the exhibition matches before the tournament. I was like, let's just play. Or maybe that was day one already. Yeah, my memory is already fading off. But hey, we played. My first match was against Oreo and I got 2-0'd. But there was this really nice moment. I think it was during the second game where I had him on the wall. I was ready to do an air grab, but the time ran out when I was in mid of the jumping animation, and I was like, no, give me just like a tenth of a second more. Didn't get that, so I lost. Okay, losers bracket. I can make it back, even though I usually lose if I go into losers bracket. I usually lose 2 games in a row. This didn't work like that. I had to face against Roxo, and he didn't play his Garchomp, even though we did a 2v2 the day after, and he actually won pretty convincingly. But he played with Caesar, and Lucario and was like, Caesar, I have a matchup with Saber. Lucario, please don't get me started of how many games I have versus Absoluted. I win, and then what happens? I have to face against Absoluted. And this set was probably the set that stressed me the most. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna lose. But I played like I never played before. That is something I have to say. I stayed away from Lucario even in dual phase. I just charged scared face over and over and over and over. And that is something I think I should do more. Just play the zoning game more. I won 2-0. At the moment I was like, we're getting up, isn't this best of 5? And he said it was best of 3. I shouted out like, I was like, I won! I was like, yeah! Yeah! And everyone was like, whoa, Goreson, chill out for a second. But I couldn't chill, I was so happy I actually won that set. And now I was like, okay. Now it's Raps. Raps lost to Oreo 3-2. He almost made a comeback. He lost game 5. I was like, okay, Raps. Jean, come here. Do I play with Empoleon or with Machamp? And he was like, Goreson, use Empoleon. And I'm glad he told me that because I used Empoleon and I won 3-0. It wasn't easy. But the last game, I actually tried to go for a double perfect. I could have gotten it, but I was too hasty with that. I was like, okay, let me rethink for this third round in the third game, and I managed to win that too. Back to Oreo. How do I play against Oreo? Because I knew I could beat Oreo, but the thing is, I didn't beat Oreo. But it was not completely impossible for me to win. I saw that. So I mastered up what I had, won 3-1 in the first best of 5. I resetted the bracket, and everyone was like, yeah, yes, reset. And I was like, okay, now one more. We play, I lose 2-0. I was so scared, and he was 1 round away from winning all the games, every single game that we play from that one. Every time he won the first round and I won the second one, then won the third. It went exact same way in the grand finals last round. We both had burst. He missed his burst, and I barely managed to win that game. Just because he pressed the button and I pressed burst. That is something I usually really like to do. Because remember this burst attack, at least Machamp's burst attack, beats every option that is not just blocking. And it's safe on block. So it's just my way of saying, okay, I know you want to press buttons, but if you're gonna do that, you're gonna lose this exchange. You have to be patient. If you're not patient, you're gonna get punished. And people, especially when they play against Machamp, they don't really like being patient. They just want to play their RPS. They run up RPS options, and then try to get away from you to then zone you out. That works, but not in that situation. You have to respect Machamp's burst attack and actually learn to just block. Anyway, I win. Everyone jumped on me on top of the setups, and I was like, "No, get down! We're gonna break this thing!" And even I think it was Wiseblade. We came there, so like was like, "Okay, guys, get down from there. We don't want you guys to break everything." And everyone started saying, "Yeah, good job, Goreson, nice job." Everyone was happy. Felt so nice. It was actually only the second time I won a LAN tournament. I mean, a really competitive LAN tournament. The first time was in Italy last year. Now it was Riva. We did a small interview, by the way. I don't remember how it went. I don't remember who it was, or I was with whom. We did a small interview when we were asked, what do you guys want from Pokemon again? And everyone just started telling their names, their tags, and what they wanted, how did they feel. Nice stuff. We went back home. I was completely tired and worn off. I went to sleep incredibly early. Next day, we go back to Riva because we actually didn't get paid. We went there, we saw some of the tournaments that were there on Sunday. Then we asked for the prize money. We got Oreo wraps, and Absolute actually got some money too. I think he got like $50, and I'm like, yeah, better than nothing, and he was also like that. So we went upstairs, we saw some streams, we played some Tekken. And the guys actually decided they wanted to go and try this escape room that was nearby. I stayed back because Timo was like, okay, you come here, Goreson. We actually have to play a set offline so that I won't have to call out on your terrible connection. I was like, but I want to play Dragon Ball FighterZ, that's downstairs. And he's like, no, Goreson, you're going to play against me. Okay, I'm going to play game 1. I win. You know what, Goreson? I'm gonna go with the other guys at the escape room. And I decided I just stayed there. I played with Sentenza. We also came there for 2 days. I was so happy to meet him again. He has now transferred into the UK. We play a bit of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Then they had to close. I get a message from Jean and Kimo that the room was overbooked. So they just went back to the room. We went back to the room and we watched Dragon Ball Super, the 2-episode special. Everyone was super excited. We saw Uchi actually recorded our reactions. I don't know how I went in there. I know I'm not photogenic. I've never been photogenic. If you guys take pictures of me, I'm gonna look horrible. I'm gonna look like the Hulk if the Hulk put up pink makeup, but not as beefy. Anyway, what else? We went back to sleep, and pretty much everyone started leaving in the night. Wait a second, was the stream on the last day? I think it was. Right? Or was it on the second day? Oh man, my memory is trash level. Anyway, everyone started leaving during the night. In the morning after, it was basically just me, Jean, and Kimo. Kimo just didn't want to wake up. We had to stay there with him until he decided, okay, we just have to get up and prepare everything. We left. Kimo lost his hat, I think. Too bad. And Jean lost 100 pounds. That was something I was really worried about. But we couldn't find them, so yeah, nothing. Me and Jean went to the airport, and I don't know if I should say the story about Jean and how it went for him. I'm not gonna do it. If Jean, if you're hearing this and you want to talk about your special trip back home, you should do it because your story is so tragic, but also so funny when you hear it. That you should be the one who actually talks about it. Anyway, we go back from the train station with the train, and what we do? We have a Switch. We play with the 3v3 mode. He uses the Pro controller. I go with the double Joy-Cons. We play on shared screen, so my inputs are all inverted, and he beats me up most of the time, but every time I won, I was like, Gene, you're losing to me doing this while I held up double Joy-Cons. And he's like, hey, Goreson. We went to the airport. We stayed there outside for a bit. We went through check-in. We had to wait. We still had to wait a bit, but we got there pretty quickly. I have to say, didn't really took us that much time. Anyway, I had to use like 4 boxes. You know the boxes that you have to put all of your stuff in that go through the X-rays. Yeah, I had to use like 8 of those. But it took me like 15 minutes to go through the check-in. While Jean was ready there and waiting for me. We prepared. We went through the airport until we saw the departure sign. We just talked a bit there. Really, we talked about our situation at home, about our real lives. You know what those are? Yeah, me neither. We talked about that. Then Jean accompanied me through my departure line. We stayed there, talked. I went through the last check-in you have to do when you have to show your ticket and your passport. Pretty easy stuff. Plane back to come back home. Oh, I have to tell about this. While on the plane, I was supposed to stay on a seat that was like 9A. That was on the window. I was like, okay, window seat, not bad. Usually I prefer the aisle one because you have more room for your legs. And I'm not really skinny, let's say. But what happens? All the boxes all of the overhead boxes are completely full, except for one that is like in the middle of the plane. And I asked the hostess if she could put my bag there, and I see the Holy Grail. No, not the Holy Grail, the Holy Trinity. An entire row completely empty. And I'm like, can I sit there since everyone else has already sit down? And they were like, yeah, sure. So what did I do? I put myself in the aisle station. I sit down as comfortably as I could, and I watched as everyone else was strictly in their tiny seat, while I was just there doing like completely free. Nobody on the left, nobody on the right. Lucky Goreson. Went back home. It was later than I thought I would have been back home. Everyone was like, oh, how did it go? Did you win? What happened? I'm like, yes, I won. Yeah, it went well. All of our customers know that I go to these tournaments for video games. I just call them Pokemon video games. I don't want to explain what Pokken is. But they are like, yeah, that's nice, fun. How did it go? I basically have kind of like my own fan base with our customers. That is nice, but every time they keep asking me every time the same questions, and so after sometimes it actually gets kind of exhausting to have to say the same things over and over. But hey, I actually feel kind of flattered that they still remember. That's nice. Went back home, everything was the same, but here's the final nail in the coffin. I see that my mother bought some Pringles, basically. The chips in the can that you can pick up one at a time. What flavor are those? They are sour cream and onions. And I'm like, why? Why? I tried one, I almost had to vomit. Man, who likes sour cream and onions? Are you crazy? It's disgusting. But I went to sleep pretty early the day after that night, so I was like, yeah, now back to my normal life. And this is gonna be as far as I will talk about Riva, unless someone will be like, "Yo, Goreson, how was the tournament? Where did you go? How was it?" This is the only video I'm gonna make about it, and I think I covered basically almost most of it at least. So yeah, thank you guys for hearing basically, and see you guys another time.